Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all you UFO watchers out there. This video today is going to be a little different from all the others. It's going to be basically a teaching tool on how to know what you're looking at. Rule number one: if you see something in the night sky or even during the day, the first rule is to never doubt yourself. Number one. Number two, whatever you see that is unexplainable, you don't know what it is, if it doesn't look like anything you already ever seen before, even if you did become go into the military, it's probably what you think it is. Like I say, if you say in the back of your mind that it's a UFO, that's exactly what it is. Trust me, okay? I've been there, all right? I've never been in the military, but it's still, you do enough research and you do enough eyeballing into the skies, you're going to be able to tell the difference. Like, okay, let's say at night, you just happen to be looking up at the sky, you see a plane going by. Like right now, I can hear a plane going over my house. Okay? Now, at night, if you see a plane going by, you're going to see some red and green or red and blue lights flashing. And if you look hard enough, you're going to see the shape of a plane, on top of all those lights. The lights are going to be bouncing off the airplane. So you probably be able to make out a wing and or the bottom half of the plane. Now, in the midst of all that, when you see the plane going over your head, maybe I'd say 5 or 10 seconds later, that's when you're going to hear the roar of the engines following right directly in behind the plane itself. That is one way to tell, one crucial way to tell if that's a plane. Now, a UFO, completely different, but still, it's a good way for you to understand what's different between the two. You see something else in the sky, whether it might be one solid light or maybe two, close together. If you see this light moving across the sky very slowly at night, but that's all you can see and it's not making a sound whatsoever, what you do is you stand there, watch it, keep watching it, and then if you don't hear the sound of an engine following directly behind it, then that's how you can tell if what you see up there is a UFO, or as I like to call it, an ASC, which stands for Alien Spacecraft, or DSV, which is Deep Space Vehicle. A little term I cooked up, but anyway. Let's see. Okay. Now those are very crucial ways to tell if what you see is a UFO or an airplane. Another rule: if the government is saying that they was let's just say you saw some lights in the sky, and if the number two rule is you never, and I mean never, if you see something in the sky like that, do not contact an airbase to see if they had any helicopters or F-16s flying overhead. Okay, if you tell them that you saw a UFO, or if you send that video of UFO to that place, you will never see it again. Okay? Never. Wanna know why? Because apparently you know something that they know and they don't want you to know. But if you know, then that means, well, you get the point. But anyway, bottom line is, if you see something like that in the sky, do not call the Air Force base in your area. Do not call any portion of the government, because they will come through there and shut whatever it is you see down every single time. Or what they'll do is they'll threaten you and tell you that they will take you out into the desert and they will never see your body ever again. They did that during the Roswell incident. They can do it again if they want to. The bottom line is the government likes to cover up things that they know about but don't want us to know about, even though we already do. So what they'll try to do is they'll try to mess with your head, saying that they had some flares that they were testing in the area, or it could be a weather balloon, it could be some type of top secret aircraft that they were testing in the area. No, if it didn't make a sound, trust me, whatever it is they got that they say they're testing is gonna make a sound regardless. Okay. Now, another thing. Like I said before, if you see something in the air, and this something is a bunch of lights, don't ever doubt yourself. See it, put it in the back of your mind, and just say, okay, I saw this. That's all you need to say. Okay. Now, if you tell someone else about what you saw, they may say, oh, you were smoking something, you was drinking, you were dreaming, or you imagined it was probably a helicopter or a plane. If you look at these rules and differentiate the two, then you can determine what is what, whether it be a plane or UFO. Now, again, when you see these things in the air, you got to be able to look up there on a regular basis. You know, you want to go out as much as you can and just look up. Keep looking. Oh, excuse me. Keep looking. You just might see something that is unexplainable. That's another thing. If you can't explain it, then that means it could be what you already think it is. If you can't identify it as an airplane or even an F-16 or a helicopter, a military helicopter, then the other option would be UFO or ASC or a DSB. Okay? Now, if you do a lot of digging on the internet, you know about UFOs, the Anunnaki, or any other kind of ancient alien race that they're trying to keep secret, or if you're listening to a radio show like Coast to Coast AM, which is one of my favorite radio shows of all time, which I really do think that you should watch. That's 97.1 Talk Radio, FM. Okay, you can only actually listen to it on stream radio. Like if you got an iPhone, you can go to TuneIn Radio, download that app, and type in 97.1 Talk Radio, and that show comes on every night at 1 o'clock in the morning. You know, Eastern Standard Time or whatever. Let's see. You listen to that radio show, I guarantee you, it's gonna be some stuff with it that you like. I mean, I've been a big listener for the past 2-3 years. Now, let's talk about unmarked government ops helicopters, black helicopters. Now, the experience that I had, I was doing a lot of digging on a lot of stuff. There's this satellite called the Black Knight. It's a satellite that's been orbiting our skies for a very long time. They don't know its origin. They don't know how long it's been up there. But it's up there. And the only thing you can really get from it is a bunch of pictures that was taken by NASA and somehow got leaked on the internet. So now you can actually catch it on YouTube. So all you got to do is type in Black Knight satellite and watch the video about it. Okay? And you'll get what I'm talking about. It's a pretty sleek looking thing. It's like unlike any other satellite I've ever seen. You know, it's nothing like what we have. You know, because we have solar panels on our satellites. This is look like a spacecraft almost. But anyway, back to the matter at hand. The black ops helicopters, or the unmarked black helicopters. If you start digging into a lot of things that they don't want you to know about, trust me and believe, they are watching you, whether they're scanning your laptop or listening to your phone calls, listening to your radio station. Perfect example. I was listening to I was listening to Coast to Coast AM one night, and this woman that got on the radio talking to George Norrie, who is the host of Coast to Coast AM. Well, the host now. Before that, it was a man named Art Bell. He was very, very intelligent, and I loved his show too. But anyway, she got on there talking about how our current president paid a lot of money to take a trip to Africa. Okay, and she went on and on and on about it. Started talking more about the president, and she was getting a little bit too into what she was saying about our president. In the middle of her conversation, the line went completely dead. Explain that to me, people. Why do you think that happened? You want to know why? Because of the government. That proves that they are scanning our phone calls. Just like what happened a couple months ago last year about that guy who leaked all that information about how the government wants to monitor our phone calls and our emails just to make sure that we're not terrorists. It's an invasion of privacy, people. Let's keep that in mind. Let's keep that in our heads. Now, for something like that to happen when you talking about something that shouldn't be talked about, like the president of the United States for that matter, it may not be a threat of what she was talking about, but she was talking about him a little too much. And they cut the line. They can cut that line anyway, as long as they're listening to your radio, that radio band. They can cut it just like that. Okay? So, another situation. This happened on the Art Bell version of Coast to Coast AM. Like back in, I think, 1997. There was this guy that they call the Frantic Area 51 worker. He gets up there talking about, he's like, hello, Art. He was talking about how the government knows a lot about aliens and that they are trying to wipe out certain parts of the human population to make the other parts controllable and this and that and the other. And he starts getting into a lot of stuff that he ain't supposed to be talking about. He's saying he don't have a lot of time, that they're going to triangulate on his signal very soon. He starts getting into it and he starts weeping and saying that they know a lot more about them that they're not telling us about. Then all of a sudden they started getting really scratchy. Then they started skipping. Then the line went completely dead. Okay? Now, it came back. They said the entire grid from their radio station went down. They had to bring everything back up on the backup generator. He said in the 10 years that he has done radio, that has never happened before. Now, for the truth of the matter, this guy calls back about a year, maybe 2 years later, confessing to the fact that it was a hoax that he created. Okay? But these are the key words here. Why did the line get cut? If it was a hoax, why did they cut the line? You want to know what I think? It's because even though he made that up, obviously some parts of that is true. Why? I don't know. Is it going to happen? I don't know. But at some point, when they were listening to that conversation, apparently he knew something that they wasn't expecting him to know. He could have just said it off the top of his head, but it was obviously true to them because that's probably what they really want to do or trying to do. Makes you think, doesn't it? It really does. Because think about it. You just say something. You create an elaborate story about Area 51 and what the government does. Just making something up. All of a sudden, your line gets cut when you talking on the radio, and there's no reason for that to happen because it was a hoax, a story that you made up. Makes you think. How could a made-up story become the truth to them? For them to actually cut the line and shut down the entire grid. Like I said, makes you think. Obviously, some parts of it that is true. You know, and he was smart enough to even come up with that idea. Weird. Anyway, so be careful what you're looking at on the internet because they are scanning that too. I'm not saying you can't do it, because I do it all the time. I'm doing it right now. That's why I'm making this video. I look at stuff like this all the time. My situation with the Black Ops helicopters, I'm gonna tell you that it's scary, and it's quite unsettling and a mind blower because my experience, I was at a grocery store, and I am just doing my regular thing. I'm going to the store to pick up something for my apartment, you know, some food or whatever. All of a sudden, this black unmarked helicopter comes in from, I'd say, the west, and it flies directly over my head. Now, any other helicopter that's flying is just gonna fly in the area, but it's kind of weird how they were able to pinpoint exactly where I was and fly directly over my head, like as if they're saying, "We see you." Weird. Okay, it flies over my head and it just keeps going. It's not like it stopped. and hovered right above my head. It just kept going. But they wanted me to know that they knew where I was. That they was able to pinpoint my location. Okay. 2 years later, same situation, different scenario. I'm on the internet at that day looking up information about the satellite, the Black Knight satellite. I'd say about maybe 15 minutes into me surfing the net about this, I hear a helicopter flying over here, and it sounded very, very low. So I was like, why is the helicopter flying so low? And I mean, it was so low you can actually hear the booming of the propellers flapping, as it's spinning around in the air. You say, that's just how low it was. I get up, I look outside. This helicopter, black and unmarked, flew directly over my apartment. Not the apartment next to me, not the one from way over here, but directly over my apartment. That's because they was able to pinpoint my exact location and fly over, not to stop and look at me and then fly off. They just flew over, knowing that I was going to hear them, and basically telling me, we still know where you are. We can find you anywhere. Weird, but scary at the same time. Also, at the same time, it didn't really bother me because, okay, all I'm doing is looking at the net. What they gonna do? Okay, everybody looks at the net every single day, but I guess they figure as long as he don't find out something that he don't need to find out, or he don't dig enough into what he knows to get even more information, they ain't gotta do nothing, because they have situations where these guys in these suits come walking through and they look really weird in the face. Yeah, they got sunglasses on, they talk in unison, they even walk in unison, and they telling you to stop looking at what you're looking at, even know your name, where you come from, your age, all that stuff. Then they tell you to stop what you're doing or else. And then they just disappear. This is what they call the Men in Black. Never had that experience, but don't want that experience. Okay? But still, like I said, everything that I have told you, I hope you take it to heart. I hope you use it in your venture into looking for UFOs and doing whatever it is you do. So, I just want to say, I hope you listen to this video and watch it, and that you take heed to what I'm saying, because what I am telling you is a fact of my own experiences and what I have gathered over the years and what I have learned. Okay? So, when you're out there looking for whatever it is you're looking for, keep what I said in mind, because it will help you understand what it is you're looking for and what it is you can, debunk from what you actually like I said, knowing what the difference between an airplane and a UFO. Okay? So, I just want to say in Hawaiian, aloha, mahalo, and ahuiho, which in Hawaiian means I will see you soon. Okay? Peace.